let's begin.
Until last week, I lived here in a big town, half an hour from London. Now I live here in the middle of absolutely nowhere.
Where there is a lot to do and I have no idea how to do any of it. Luckily, I live with my husband. He also doesn't know how to do any of it, but he's a better person at drawing than I am, and we need a map.
So the plot here is about 10 acres in total, with a little bit of everything going on. Our house and barn are down on the quiet country lane that we live next to. Behind them is our paddock and a garden area separated by a dirt track, which leads up to our south meadow. Across the stream is our north meadow, which is on the other side of the big stream to our woods, which are north of our field.
We have our map and we are going to start down here in the garden. This is the front garden. So we've got the lawn here, which is a bit out of hand, so needs obviously mowing and sorting out. I have no idea what this plant is, but it is huge. We're ripping it out. Over here we've got an old school greenhouse, which I want to get back to looking beautiful, along with these two cute little sheds. Looking inside, they're a tad scary. It's got spiders galore.
Do you want to go inside one and show people inside?
Do I?
Do you?
Behind here, the house was a mill back in the day, so there's patches of water around here everywhere, which we're not really sure what to do with, but this has to go. Both dogs are falling in it already and they stink. The coolest thing about the whole front garden is it's got a stream, but you have to go across this crazy old patio, which needs some work to get it back to looking okay. There's slabs missing, there's whatever the stuff is between the stones missing. And anyway, stream, the best part. Again, absolutely falling apart to get down to it, but it is there.
And health and safety issues aside, having this right outside our front door is just amazing. And as you can imagine, there is no traffic noise here, so the only thing we can hear is the beautiful running water.
Going up to the paddock now. Barn just over there, but ignore it. Mark's going to be telling you about that on his video, as it's going to be our new gym. Very exciting.
And if you're wondering how we're going to clear up all those leaves, in a video coming real soon, I'll be wearing a giant backpack petrol-powered leaf blower. What can go wrong? And then up into the paddock, which is going to be the first area where we upgrade all the fencing so it's somewhere the dogs can play. Before that, we need to get the grass sorted. From above, it doesn't look too bad, but it's knee-deep in places. Luckily, we had a representative from Azeki Tractors come and have a look around yesterday, and he gave us some real confidence that with the right kit, we can get it all under control. So big boy toys on the way.
This is our lane. It goes from the house all the way up into the meadows at the top. The only worry that we had about this area is that we wouldn't be able to get a tractor up here, but the guy from the company, tractor company, said it should manage just fine. And if you spot that blue thing, come have a look. This is where the mill pond used to be when it was an up and running mill. Somebody changed it into a swimming pool. As you can see, it hasn't been used for a very, very long time. My desire is to get it back up and running. Mark thinks otherwise.
I think it should be filled in. It looks like a giant money pit.
Gonna put a hot tub here, some chairs. The sun is beautiful here in the evenings. It goes down over there, just where we were in the field beforehand. Great sunspot, gonna be lovely once done. This mound here is gonna be where the gym actually goes after we've had it in the barn for a bit. Big project.
And it really is a huge space. From above, it's hidden by the tree canopy, but it is all of this area here, which gives us all the room we could ever need for a gym.
All the neighbouring land around us is all farmland, which mostly has sheep on it. So one of the first things we're going to do, or need to do, is upgrade the fence so the dogs cannot get out. South Meadow. This is the area that we want to get neat and tidy. I'm picturing like a meadow with wildflowers. We're a while off from that.
A while off might be an understatement.
One of the really cool things about getting a tractor or the machinery in here is that we are going to be able to reclaim all of this space. Where all the brambles have all taken over, we're going to be able to get it back. Behind those brambles is yet another cool little stream, which would be great to be able to get access to. So if we can cut it back, get to hear where the stream is. We're gonna get a sit-on bushwhacker thing and it is gonna be awesome.
And worth pointing out, although we plan to cut a lot of the overgrown areas right back, we still intend to leave a huge amount of space available for the wildlife. If for no other reason, then we simply just don't have the time to look after it any other way.
That's enough of that. This little stream here is where the divide is between the South Meadow, the North Meadow. So the tractor guy said that it would be great to be able to get a few pathways around here so we could enjoy it, but also leave huge chunks wild, so not only is it easier on the maintenance, but wildlife too.
A little bit of maintenance in this area would be really good for the wildlife. Just abandoning an area to Mother Nature alone isn't really that good for anything. The UK doesn't have the sort of animals wandering around it anymore that would have kept this sort of place in check a few thousand years ago. So with no bears to trample the brambles down anymore, it's left to me and my sit-on brush cutter.
There's a few places like here where the fence is perfectly fine, but it doesn't last the whole length of the fence. So our plan to be able to keep the dogs in is to cut this back as much as possible, put a new fence along here, and the bit in the middle, wild. Chainsaw on order.
That's right, along with the monster leaf blower, we have also got a chainsaw and a bunch of other bits of handheld kit that we will be able to take into spots like this and clear out some of the paths for better access.
You can tell it's the end because there is a fence and again another stream.
Actually, we think the stream is the border, but it might be the fence. Or it might actually be somewhere past the fence. The land registry plans weren't particularly clear on that.
We are now walking down the north border all the way down to the main stream. When we viewed the place, this seemed really enclosed. Probably because it was summer, so leaves everywhere, actually on the trees rather than on the floor. It seems like once we get the bushwhacker, it's just going to allow all the wildlife on the floor to grow instead of being covered by all these trees.
So in theory, once we get lots of this dead and fallen wood out the way and cut back some of these brambles, we should see a whole selection of new things growing up out the ground once given the chance to do so.
I'm not quite sure about the borders, but there is a beautiful part of the stream down here.
This is the area where we are most unsure about the property border. There's a couple of streams that come together here. That said, it's so far from the house, we'll probably get there last. So not one we need to worry about at this stage, other than to get some paths cut through here. So this is now moving from the North Meadow into the South Meadow, and in a few years' time it's going to be a sea of wildflowers every summer, which I'll enjoy looking at from my self-built, wood-fired hot tub. There might be a few other jobs to get done before building a hot tub, but it's definitely on the list. And now probably our favourite bit. This is pretty much in the middle of the entire 10 acres and completely secluded. Our plan is to spend a lot of time here, especially in the summer. Even now when we're walking the dogs every morning, this is where we stop for the longest time. Whether you view it from down here or up on the bank from the other side in the woods, it's absolutely beautiful.
So we are hoping to put a proper little bridge over here so you can get from this meadow to our woodlands.
And then it is a short walk back to the top of the garden, which is really just a sort of no man's land between the other areas.
Officially in the garden. So much to cut back and open it back up so we can see the stream. There are loads of these little channels everywhere that run down to the main stream. This one looks like it's pretty dried up, but I feel like it's going to be quite substantial. There's a bridge going over it, so I wonder if at some point we're going to have water gushing down here. Rear patio, paving like the front of the house. We love it, but it's dangerous in places, so we're not sure really what to do about that. Behind us, back up to the pool and the decking area, over the stream, back over to the field. But before we go up there, come check out this little tiny spot. This is one of the best views, and it's what we can see from our living room window.
And so across the bridge and to all the land west of the stream.
Field, we're going to come back to this in a minute. First, the wood. That is coming down.
It's coming down because it's falling down, but our plan is to get a new chicken coop built as soon as possible. In fact, chickens might be our first animal purchase here.
Previous owners used this as a campfire area.
We aren't sure really what we're doing with this area, apart from it might be a good place to put all the leaves that we gather from around the house and scatter them out the way. And again, the plan here, like it is in the North Meadow, is to plough through with the sit-on brush cutter and to get some nice paths created so we can walk the dogs without tripping over the undergrowth. But still, a large amount of this is going to remain as you see it. And this spot here is the other side of the beach area where we want to put a little bridge in, meaning we can cross easily from the meadow without having to go back to the house each time.
Behind me now is our west border. Again, fence is going to need some
PLC.
TLC.
And heading north into the woods here, it starts off quite nice and open. And actually the only real thing needed here is some fence work.
I think it looks like somebody's dumped a whole lot of stuff here and it's just pushed the fence down. So some serious clearing out and then replacing the fence.
But around halfway along, the ground gets really uneven. And it's going to be this point where the sit-on brush cutter can't really get any further. So everything from this point onwards is going to be cleared with handheld tools. And there is a lot to clear. In fact, we didn't get close to the north border here because it just gets too overgrown. This might be a spot to let our goats run loose for a while and eat the place clear. Talking of goats, as we head back to the field, goats are coming after the chickens. And the field is where they'll live, along with the chickens, and maybe an alpaca. We have to give a bit more thought to the animals here.
This here is now the border of the woods and the field. This field goes to the tree line there, which lines the road, and heads back down to the stream towards the house. Our only concern with this field is how steep it is.
The guys from Azeki are going to come here in a couple of weeks and bring some of their brush cutters and tractors and have a little play. We will see what works best on this terrain. So back to the stream opposite the house and the south border. There are a million things that need doing here, and we have the skills to do very few of them, but that's all part of the fun. And at the end of the day, if things go wrong, will we really care? As the sun goes down, chilling in the hot tub that we built ourselves in the wildflower meadow? I don't think so. Unless the hot tub leaks, that would be annoying.
That's it. Lots to do, including getting that flip chart back down.